Good evening, everybody. Welcome to episode 18 of the Fan Experience podcast. Welcome to the show. For all you returning, thank you for coming back. For all you newcomers, Fan Experience is a podcast that puts sports fans under the spotlight and behind the podium. We want to hear your stories. You don't have to be an athlete just to tell a story. So, we want you on here. We want you on the platform. Just tell us. Tell us about your sports passions. Tell us how you became a fan of your favorite sport, your favorite teams, and how it's led you to where you are today. So before we get started, quick shout out that the presenters of this podcast is Playing the Field. Playing the Field is a sports fan community. You could join right now, playthefielddating.com. You could join for any reason to meet any kind of sports fans for any kind of social situation, whether it's a friend to talk about games with, to go to games with, to set up a softball league, or to find love, find a romantic partner. So join now, playthefielddating.com, hashtag promo code fan experience on sign up. So we want to, right before we get started on some NBA playoff updates, NHL, we want to give a very big shout out to our very good friend and guest number one on this show, Christian Angulo. He was signed by the Giants, undrafted. He was released, unfortunately, a couple weeks ago, and yesterday signed with the San Francisco 49ers. So kudos to you, Christian. You're putting in all the hard work. You deserve it, man. Rick?
Mike, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the show. Yeah, big shout out to Chris. The Giants released him a couple of weeks ago, and then lo and behold, injuries in the NFL, man, they always happen. Sherman's out, and they need some corners, and Chris was signed to the practice squad, so we reached out to him last night, and he's excited to be over there. So congratulations, Chris. Keep up the hard work, man. Keep doing what you're doing. And, we were talking about this earlier today. I hope he makes the 53, man, because they play the Jets this week, and we'll get into that later on in the show. And then the week after that, they play the Giants. It'd be nothing more than him to start at corner and show the Giants what they missed out on. So, again, Chris, congratulations. Good luck. And, welcome, everybody. And right now, as we speak, we're watching a little bit of the Browns and the Bengals, and Joe Burrow looking like a pro, man, looking like just a stud. And they're reviewing a touchdown here, but looks like Cleveland is starting to pull away here early in the second quarter. So, it's fun. Week 2 in the NFL, but we want to start with a little NBA. Talk about the Heat and the Heat and the Celtics. Talk about the Nuggets and Lakers starting up. I think, Mike, we got to start with the Denver Nuggets down 3-1. They just clamped down on Kawhi Leonard. They clamped down on Paul George, Jokic, Murray. That team that's been playing for, they've been together for 6 years, with Coach Mike Malone there. And I think that chemistry just came through. And I don't think the bubble bothered them at all. And they just took it they were down 3-1. They just took it to the Clippers, man, and just won. So congratulations to them on a great victory. And now it's on to play the Lakers. And like you and I have spoken before, I think that the Lakers are going to win the title eventually. But it's going to be an interesting series, man. The Lakers.
It's going to be fun.
It's going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to be good to see guys like Jamal Murray and Jokic. And I want to know how the Lakers are going to stop them, man, because these guys can play some defense. I mean, Jokic, he had 22 rebounds in the last game. I mean, he's a monster up there. So, and then Murray does his thing. So I can't wait to see that series. It's going to be pretty exciting. And who comes out in the West and the East right now, Miami just looks like they're the real deal with Robinson, Tyler Hero. I mean, Jimmy Butler. You got an experienced coach in Spoelstra. I mean, I think it's going to be a Heat-Lakers series, and, who knows what's going to happen, man. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, to be completely honest, I haven't been paying attention too much to the NBA playoffs, but I watched a little bit of the game today though that Heat team is just exciting to watch.
Yeah, that's exactly, man.
It's so exciting. I've caught the highlights and whatnot, but seeing it in real time, even those the first quarter, and I never watched the first quarter of basketball games.
Yeah,
and it was intense, man. For just game 2, also. But that's what basketball brings, though. They bring that energy. It's unlike it's unlike any of the other sports, really. I mean, obviously NHL is very fast paced as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're exciting to watch. There's no surprise. I'm not a fan of the Heat or the Celtics. But if I had to make my choice, I want the Heat to advance. And Heat Lakers is my dream matchup there.
Yeah, that LeBron playing against his old team and his old coach.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
them going against him. But I got to tell you, man, Miami, that organization, since Riley's gotten there, he left the Knicks in '95, obviously, and again, the Knicks have been pretty much a disaster for the last 20 years. But he leaves the Knicks in '95, he takes over Miami, builds a team up, and since they won 2 titles and they went to 4 NBA Finals with Dwayne Wade and LeBron and Chris Bosh. I mean, they've been trying to rebuild that team, and now they got a bunch of guys who play well together. They brought in Jimmy Butler. They play real good ball together. And they're, like you said, they're exciting, man.
Yeah.
And they're starting to look dominant. Like, they're starting to look like, we're going to sweep the Celtics. I mean, I'm not going to say they're going to sweep them, but they're just starting to look like they're going to overpower the Celtics.
I don't think it's going to be a sweep. But
you don't think so?
No.
I mean, but they look good, man. I mean, they look real, real good. With these guys, I'd like to see him place the Lakers. Obviously, you got Anthony Davis and LeBron and all those guys, Kyle Kuzma and all those guys over there. But with Spoelstra, with the experience Spoelstra has coaching the Heat and in big games, it's going to be interesting to see how they match up with the Lakers, if it's the Lakers and the Heat.
Yeah.
But so far, man, I like what I see out of Miami.
Yeah, absolutely. We could touch on our good old Islanders over here. People are requesting it. So
yeah, well, it's a game 6 tonight. Let's see if
we're getting to it anyway. But yes, game 6. Just like the Nuggets, down 3-1. They won Tuesday night, and they got to run the table now to make it to the Stanley Cup Finals against the Dallas Stars. So obviously, we're pulling for them to get everything together and to win these next 2 games, of course. Right now it is tied 1-1 in the second period.
Yeah.
In game 6. So we are certainly pulling for the Islanders, for our boy Scotty, for all you other Islanders fans out there. I know there's a lot of you watching. So, we're pulling for you.
Yeah, it's interesting about these playoff games, man. When it goes 3-1, people think, they get kind of comfortable. That game 5, man, like if a team up 3-1 doesn't close it out and loses that game 5, the amount of pressure that falls on that team all of a sudden, like the momentum, I think that the momentum just shifts right away. It's one thing if you're 2-2 and you go down 3-2, but if you're up 3-1 and you lose that pivotal game 5, like I think that's what happened to the Clippers. I mean, they lost that game 5, and all of a sudden, it was, it gets into your head. It's like you're coasting, you're beating them, no problems. Then you lose that pivotal game to close them out, and all of a sudden you start to panic. The pressure starts getting a little more intense. So we'll see. They're 1-1 right now, and if the Islanders can somehow find a way to just grind this one out, anything's possible at this point.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, we know anything's possible. I've seen a team come from 3-0 down.
Yeah, we don't need to get into that. That was 16 years ago.
Still holds a nice
that one
in my heart.
That one hurts pretty bad, but be that as it may, it's what it is. It happened. All right, we're up 3-0 and we lost. Yankees, thanks a lot.
Yeah, so good luck to the Islanders tonight. We definitely hope you guys pull it out. We'll touch on the more on the NFL after our interview, and we can dive into week 2 and some of our I don't know who this is, but they were with me that night. So
sports, man, the memories. That's what the fan experience is about. All the memories.
Absolutely. That's exactly what the show is about. So right now we will be bringing on our guest tonight. Joining us now, Donny Goertz. Did I get it right?
Yes, you did.
All right, perfect.
Wow.
Donny, how you doing, man? It's Rick and Mike. What's going on?
What's up, guys? How are you?
Doing well, man. Doing well. Thanks for coming on.
Likewise. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it.
Of course.
Awesome.
Yeah, you guys are talking shop, man. I'm a Miami Heat fan myself.
All right.
I've been riding that wave. I kind of like the neon uniform since they've been doing them as of late. But what you gonna do?
What you feeling on the bubble?
I mean, what's funny is it's actually down the street from me here. I'm in Orlando. I'm about 2 exits down on I-4 from Disney Springs and from that complex. So, I mean, it's pretty amazing that what they're pulling off, the NHL bubble, what they're pulling off, being in sports production and kind of, understanding what it takes to have the footprint that they need and to house not only the players. A good friend of mine is an audio technician. He actually had a quarantine at Disney for, I believe it was 7 to 10 days before he even did his first day of work. So his Instagram stories were literally of all the snacks that he was going to have in the quarantine. He was so bored, he put sticky notes on his door. But, what I don't think a lot of people understand is that the greater effort, there's the players, but those players, trainers and the support staff, the broadcast staff, security staff, medical staff, it's a wide footprint, and to pull off what they're doing day in and day out. I think I watched a piece on the NHL bubble. They're doing 2-3 games with the broadcast, so the same broadcast crew. That's insane. I mean, let's just salute them. And before we, be keyboard tough guys on social media about what the scores are going to be, give a little love to the men and women out there actually making it happen, because it's not easy.
Absolutely. Well said. So you're in Orlando now, but, you put down that you were from South Florida?
Yeah, from South Florida. So born and raised outside of Parkland, Coral Springs, Florida. Went to high school down there, went to University of Florida, graduated telecommunications degree, and then, played my cards right and went right into Golf Channel from then. I was actually recruited. The true story about that is I was actually recruited my junior year, and my then boss at the time wanted me to quit school and start work. Because, we had a relationship together doing some content, and he was like, man, I need you now. I can't wait. But it was worth the wait. My time at Florida was something I always look back and, really a soft spot. And especially for what I've learned, the personal relationships, but also telecommunications school at the time was going through a big transition. I got to, have the chance to have opportunities to work on stuff with the Gators from all different sectors of broadcast. From working the video boards type of line cut that you'd see if you were in the stadium, to the regional Fox Sports Florida regional sports cut in the trucks with CBS, to what we were doing. We actually had 3 control rooms on all different floors of the building. So basically, we could take all the camera feeds and splice up whatever type of show we want. So even though we were doing a video board show, we had like a blimp feed, so we could actually cut to that. I mean, it was for a kid in college, the experience you had there is sort of like getting a dual master's degree all in one. So, it was a great experience.
Well, Donny, again, thanks for coming on to, the one thing I was fascinated in reading your bio, you are a big golf person. And I mean, obviously working for the Golf Channel, and when did you start playing golf, or when did the sport sort of catch your eye that you really sort of became passionate about it?
I mean, a lot of that before I even kind of set foot on the touching a club or looking at things. I'm a big top golf person, and my swing still needs to get taken out. But I think my love for the game started with the lifestyle, started with the resorts, started with the clothing, started with everything that you would see around the periphery or golf adjacent. Other than the actual sport. It's like, we're sports fans, right? But we like to take it to the court. We like to, play, rec leagues and stuff like that. Same thing with me. It was like, I love the lifestyle of it. Like, those are clothes I wear. Like, I could see myself doing it. And I think a lot of sports fans could see the same thing or can resonate with that, and then it's sort of like the lifestyle around that. I was at one of the most memorable, I've had a few, knock on wood, really memorable golf events I was able to do for work to cover. One of the ones that comes of late is a beautiful resort in the Bahamas called Baha Mar. We were shooting basically a sweepstakes win of some golfers with Golf Advisor and Golf Now. And it actually rolled into, you never know who you're going to see at these resorts, what's going on. I bump into Nelly 3 times at the pool. I'm coming to find out that night, and oh yeah, by the way, it's a small club. So next thing I know, I'm like, all right, I'm in the Bahamas. Like, I'm like 2 feet from Nelly performing a whole set. I'm just like, can it get better than this? So yeah, I've been blessed. There's a lot of pinch me moments to where it's like going through just the experience as I was doing and sort of pitching things, and it was sort of like now. Around the time that I got into Golf Channel out of college, I was lucky and fortunate to do collaborations with some of my favorite musicians and bands, working on their webisodes. Like this is 10 years ago. So this is when social and digital content and webisodes weren't really a thing that everyone embraced. It was sort of like, just you have a camera, let's just film something, cut it and post it. Just to, like you're checking a box. It was not as much strategy and as much investment as we're doing now. But, it's really exciting. And, from then it kind of propelled me to really be like, hey, like, who can we work with? Sky's the limit at this point. And then it's like, I think when you're lucky enough to have, whether it's a cable platform, social media platform, digital channel, some sort of platform to host the content and to really get the eyes out and then to kind of focus it down, generate that cult following and the tribes. I mean, from there, it's sort of sky's the limit. So, from that, I had a lot of, variety of opportunities and things too as a content creator, from a production, specialist, sort of behind the scenes a lot into producing and kind of doing my own, sort of PR and collaborations. So it's been a fun run.
Yeah, and the one thing that caught my eye was you actually got to work with Sugar Ray Leonard. I mean, he's one of the great fighters of all time. Tell us about that. What's it like to work with an Olympian? Like the guy, to me, like he must walk on water in the boxing world. So what's it like to work with somebody like Sugar Ray Leonard?
It was actually, I'll tell you a true story, verbatim. I mean, it's pretty amazing. So I set this up. I fly out to California. I was actually doing a piece with Tito Ortiz, Sugar Ray Leonard, Winky Wright, who was in St. Pete at the time. So I lined up some fighters on the West Coast, flew out there. And at this time, it was very lean crew. I'm out there, set up with this person. I'm outside the house, okay, buzzing, this and that, and literally, it's like out of a dream. I kind of, get my stuff ready, go to the front door. I'm like going up the winding, driveway, glass front door. I'm like, okay, ding. And next thing I know, Sugar Ray comes to the door and said, hi, I'm Ray. I'm just sitting there like, what? And then he's like, let me give you a tour, let me, where do you want to set up? What do you want to do? And we're going through his house and he takes us to his gym. And once we get to the gym, I kid you not, he has a dresser that was in there and had 2 drawers sort of slightly open. And he had the gold medals laying on a drawer, open drawer, like it was a dirty sock. And I'm just sitting there like, what? But we had some great candid conversations. And I think what we came away with from that was, and I asked him, very candidly, why do you think you had the gift of what you were doing and were one of the greatest of all time? And he simply said, I think I was born with the gift and the ability to have speed. He's like, you can't teach that. You can't train for that. That's something you're born with. And it's something where it's like, you look at how he takes care of himself and his health and his well-being, so and so forth. Tito Ortiz, when I did a collaboration with him as well, when I was out there for the same shoes, actually the same project. I didn't know this at the time, but just speaking to him, he developed, I was like, how did you get this persona and this mental edge? And come to find out, he's like, he went to school for psychology in college. So, I mean, a lot of this stuff was innate from his study. So I think it's, to me, being able to kind of candidly interact with, the people that I do. And, for me, it's sort of like, I want to learn how they tick. We later went on to make a series called My Daily Routine that basically it sort of showcases the life hacks and success of, sort of what it takes, a masterclass, if you will, on what it takes to kind of reach the pinnacles of, from authors, celebrities, athletes, you name it. But even if it's golf instructors, touring pros. And I think that, everyone can learn a lot from that, no matter what your skill level is. It's scalable to you, if you're going to school, like it's your focus, it's, your mental edge, but just having the tenacity to really push yourself, I think, a lot of people now, they wait for it to come to them. They wait for things to sort of unlock. And, I forget what the quote is on luck, but it's when, preparation meets opportunity.
Yep.
And it's something to where, you rattle enough cages, one of them's got to open. And it's just one of those things of just setting yourself up, feeling stuff out, always learning, being humble and just, what can I do better? How can I upgrade, from one opportunity to the next, and just let it go.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And we're living in the land of instant gratification. That's pretty much what you were.
Likes, vanity, they talk about it. I'm big into LinkedIn right now since I'm going through transition, but just touching base with, the content creators, like the essence of content, and especially LinkedIn. Twitter's great too, but the actual art of copywriting you see a lot more of on LinkedIn. And I think the art of, coming up and cleverly delivering content in a way to where, it's you're learning like the ground floor, if you will, it's way before that. And then building that from there, as far as, a collection of just thoughts and people who are focusing on that and, can see what you're saying. And from there, build an ad on it and it resonates with them. And to me as a fan, no matter if it's sports, music, whatever I'm doing, like I've been lucky enough to live my passion. And it's kind of one of those things where I'm excited to, when you're in a room with like-minded individuals and excited folks that are all working on their passions, like there's nothing that can rain on them, or there's nothing that we can't do, even if we don't have the resources or the money. You know what I mean? Like you
figure it out.
You figure it out.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, you have enough reps of that, which, like I'm still learning, but you have enough reps of that. And then you find yourself, a lot of these little moves that you do will eventually make a huge stride. And you're like, oh, wow, how did I get here? Or how is this lining up? Like, how is this happen? Like you set yourself up. But I think if folks, I know they were talking about taking the like button off Instagram, but it's like, if we could detach ourselves from the vanity metrics. Yeah. And I think there's a way of doing it with influencers to where we take a little more of the ego-ness and the vanity out of it and just, kind of actually put in, make the ideas and the actual content itself like resonate, and people take a little step back and just let people absorb that. We'd have a different world. I just watched the Paris Hilton documentary and I thought it was pretty fantastic. I haven't seen it. I don't know if you guys have watched it, but she was the original. She invented the selfie. You know what I mean? It's like, we're going to come with next. And I think, a lot of that stuff sort of transcended for her to where it went from reality TV to, fashion, to now she's pushing, corporate brands. And, it's a fantastic inspiration. But a lot of, I think what people can look at her example and say, hey, like, how can I, not emulate that model, but, use the best practices of the technology available, social media, LinkedIn, email, all the channels of communication, because that's how you're going to touch and talk to people, right? Twitch, YouTube, you name it. And effectively, rally behind whatever it is. Because at the essence, it's not really, we call them influencers, but honestly, it's a community. And that community is what we're all there for, Yeah, there's probably someone who chimes in and leads the discussion, but in essence, we all know from going through comment threads and keyboard tough guys, it's all about communities. I think if we could get a little less ego, more community in there, I think we could see a big change of social media, less cyberbullying. Like seriously, guys. We waste so much time on stupid stuff. It's like let's just get it right.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with you. And it's hard. It's a little easier for us because we grew up without the social media, beforehand. But these kids are growing up with only knowing social media, only knowing things like Netflix exists and Twitter exists, and they don't know life before it. They don't even know how internet works half the time.
Yeah.
They don't remember having a dial up through
AOL. AOL
to get off the phone.
Right?
I want to download a song.
Yeah.
It's going to take 8 hours to download, and then it's the wrong song. But we had to wait for it, and that's how we grew our patience, and that's how we traverse this new world that we're in now.
Yeah. And I mean, I think a lot of it too is like, we all have cell phones, but it's like, instead of being on them like this, how about we actually use them as tools, and actually like as content creators and capturing more stuff instead of being glued to the screen.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I mean? I mean, I think we could get a lot more productive, but imagine if people thought that way with just being a user of social media. You know what I mean? A lot of us are, trolls or voyeurs. We don't want to be seen. We're doing our thing. We don't really like to post a lot. But, I think a lot of it too is if everyone just engages a little bit more and there's a little more balance, I think it's just healthy. I mean, right now it's so toxic. Like, just the culture that we've built up right now is so toxic.
Yeah.
On all this vanity stuff. It doesn't even want to make me scroll through it, and on average, we scroll through 300 feet of Instagram. Did you know that?
Oh, wow. That's a lot.
300 feet on average.
Wow.
That's incredible.
And I'm telling you, and that's just one facet of it. That's not screen time and everything else. I watched the Netflix film recently, The Social Dilemma, and they kind of talked about from the engineering standpoint of how they engineered what they did of all the platforms and how they did and why. And but I think back to psychology. I mean, I think content creation, marketing, it all comes through the same vein as far as psychology. I mean, just in general. I mean, Pavlov's dogs, you name it. I mean, it's pretty fantastic. But I mean, then again, it's because of that imbalance, we find ourselves, what we're doing now and all the cultural things that are happening now and everything else. And it just having a bad culture on social media only puts, gasoline on the fire that some of us are trying to put out.
Yeah. No. Donnie, why do you think that is? A curious question. You brought that up and it's interesting. Why do you think, the social media was for people to connect and put their pictures up and sort of a great lively platform. You know what I mean? Where did you think it went like sort of wrong? All of a sudden you have like these cyber bullies and you have like these keyboard tough guys. Like, how did it all of a sudden just go so haywire?
I think a lot of the trends that started, this is before Twitch, but a lot of people that were streaming and for instant gratification. Yeah. One influencer I worked with years ago, who sort of, I mean, to be honest, I won't mention them, but they're on a downward spiral. I mean, they're doing stuff so much for attention. Mm-hmm. They've been on a 40-day fast. They've lost a bunch of weight, very unhealthy. Yeah. Psychotic breakdowns that people are filming and documenting every day and streaming. I mean, it's sort of at what point, even from like a e-commerce side, are we're rewarding this? Yeah. That's not healthy. Like I don't think any brand wants to be associated with an influencer who's not even stable enough their own mind. You know what I mean? And it's just, I think we all need to take a step back and just reevaluate quality. I mean, not just, from a branding standpoint, but of people that we choose to, have the podium and have the microphone. Are they leading us in healthy discussion? Is it moral? Like, are we, putting wrong stuff out? I mean, I forget the Twitter streaming app, Periscope.
Yeah,
there's someone that was
we're streaming on it right now.
Well, there's someone that was using Periscope for like streaming them driving home drunk. I mean, like we can't reward this. Yeah, you know what I mean? There's a lot of bad behavior. So I mean, I think we need to, as a society, and Facebook, and they'll never do it, but these channels to actually have more of a social media mental health awareness campaign. And really, truly censor stuff. Because, I mean, you dig through the comments. I mean, we have so many bots right now. Can we have maybe if we could take the good of bots to channel it to defend the people that are getting cyberbullied, wouldn't we have a better way of life?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I digress, but it's like, at what stupidity are we going to watch? I hate scrolling through my phone, and I don't like to endorse these influencers who are just, you watch their lives spiral out of control, or they're promoting just vanity stuff, and it's just like, you're not even at peace, because a lot of these folks, they're burning through so much content and stories and everything else. They can't even go to sleep. They have no time to really even, program their content. It's just more or less create it, and then you see them rush to create it, and then you're like, okay, that was garbage. It wasted 10 minutes of my time, and I learned nothing at the end of the day.
I know, right? The clickbait culture, it's like all over the place. The idea, clickbait, same premise. It's like, come on, guys, like, we get away from the spamminess.
Yeah, but let's talk about some of your good work. So let's talk about some of your work. Take us behind the scenes. So we watch sports like, for example, you got the Browns and the Bengals on, but take us behind the scenes to productions like that, sporting events. What you name it, what really goes on behind the scenes? Like, what does it really take to put something like that together that we as the viewer sort of just like take for granted? We turn the TV on, we got 8 different camera angles, instant replay. Like, take us behind that. Like, how does it work? So the average viewer can kind of understand it a little bit.
It's pretty fascinating. I mean, I think everyone, when they're tailgating and doing their parties and everything at these arenas and stadiums, there's always like an overlooked parking lot of all these semis and generators and cable runs, and everyone's just like expects it to happen and be there. But I mean, that stuff is months, weeks, sometimes years in the making. Some of our team was actually working on the Tokyo Olympics for this year, and it's going to next year. But I mean, the planning and foresight and logistics of just everything from hands on deck, crewing, technology that they want to use. When vendors come out and say, hey, I have this prototype type of camera, it does 4K, it does something stupid like do 300 frames a second. It's sort of, taking all that logistics, like taking all that good innovation, making it physically work, but also then it's using it in a smart way. But I mean, right now you look at golf, for example, and it's like, they're using a lot more drones this year than ever to stream coverage and everything else. I mean, there's other, ways of using, cameras that can get the same effect, but you're stationary, with drones now. I mean, Amazon's approved to deliver stuff. I mean, these drones can do these shots, and it's not an operator that's going to get tired or is hungry or has to check his phone or have to go to the bathroom. You know what I mean? It's like, look at the NHL bubble. They actually had a brilliant piece, I think NBC Sports put together, of what they're doing day in and day out. Like I was saying, they're doing 3 games a day. Yeah. I think it's 3 or 4 trucks underground under the stadium there. A lot of that, once it's all kind of punched, and I mean, these are crews that are about 50 people. And then that's just the local, what we call like the remote crew that's actually there. Then we're sending those signals via satellite, via fiber over to, hubs where, they're getting actually inserted into the show. So if you're watching, let's say, NBC Sports, for example, we have a lot of these networks, NFL Network, so on and so forth. They have a pre and post game show. So like they'll take a lot of the live feeds and they'll be live in studio and then switching back and forth. So now you have another 50 people that are in studio that are like on call waiting for all that coverage to end. And especially when everything's live, people go into overtime, unexpected things happen. You need the redundancy. You need to be able to, if power goes out at the remote site, boom, you're back in studio. Oh, you're doing a live report with a coach. Oh, the mic's dead. Oh, we can't get coach. He's crowded in the locker room. Okay, they got to stall, run long on the studio side. You'll never see that, but it's the people behind the scenes that all that communication chatter is happening. All the yelling. It's a real thing, actually. Luckily, I think, again, it's just with any best practice, you practice what you're doing. You schedule everything. You try to take the guesswork out of it. I worked on a lot of live shows. It's all basically, either scripted or there's a show rundown that's just sort of like a sequential PowerPoint that it's got every bit of time budgeted and what we're doing in that time, what source we're taking, how long we're going there, what channel's audio it is, down to any specifics if we're having anyone do any custom live specialty operations, if they're doing a jib camera coming down to show a nice beauty of a studio desk with an anchor there, like that's all some of that stuff is taped and live. But it's insane. You would never probably know. And then you have all the other people that we don't even acknowledge that are streaming partners, that are podcast partners. Yep. There's a lot of folks that are taking in feeds and redubbing their own native language on it, or their own local announcers. So basically what they're doing at the NHL, for example, that's just, they do it probably for the NBA bubble as well. They'll take what's called a world feed. So there'll be one production system of, probably a couple trucks, one set of one crew. So it'd be a director, multiple producers, all the camera feeds coming into one truck. They're cutting up, putting up all the graphics, mixing all the audio, putting the music in, rolling the replays. And all of that is in a nice condensed format to where it's only one output and multiple tracks of audio. And then like if we send it to Argentina, they'll be seeing that live feed, and then they'll dub in their native tongue announcers so they could get it out in their language and put their graphics on it. There's a clean version that'll have graphics taken out. So, basically everyone else will put their own wallpaper, so to speak, over everything to brand it as if it's their own. So it's pretty fantastic. The more people who are really in the trenches with it, when you pull it off and you pull it off well, especially when you're seeing how many versions of the same broadcast you're doing for games, people at home would never know. But there's got to be probably 7 to 10 versions. Easy.
When we have, like movies or TV shows, taping out by us, like you see, just crews of, crews, they have whole blocks shut down, and it's for one scene for one actor. So you could just imagine for a live event, it doesn't matter what it is, golf, football, football, that's crazy, and, things like, soccer.
They have microphones in football. I'm not sure if anyone really gets the credit here for that too, but it's like all those impacts that we hear, there's a special microphone. It looks like a big salad bowl that they hold up. Okay. It's called
is that the boom mic or something like that?
Yeah. Parabolic microphone.
Yes.
The microphone actually faces towards the person, but it's basically on a big salad bowl, and they're pointing that to the action. Yeah. So there's a lot of special stuff in that. They probably they plant some microphones too in the field, and in NASCAR they do the same thing.
Really?
So technology is just we're only going to see better and better coverage. I think as just a content person, I think it's just going to be like we even have stuff right now to where our satellite provider or streaming provider will have a different line cut. So for example, I'll use golf as an example. Yeah. We'll have the main broadcast, let's say on NBC, but we'll probably push to Peacock, the streaming OTT app, to watch featured group coverage, which would be like unedited, just you're only focusing on the camera coverage of like Tiger and Rory, let's say.
Yeah.
I think being exclusive with stuff is really going to make people think twice, because they're like, I can't watch two things at one time. I only got one TV. You'll set up like your laptop, your phone, and your TV and be like, oh man, like I can't take in all these announcers talking at the same time.
Yeah.
But I think that's how we're going to be able to better deliver a viewer experience that's going to be second to none. Imagine what pay-per-views are going to look like in 10 years.
Interesting. I didn't even think of that.
Maybe you watch your own broadcast. It's sort of like you pick your own cameras, pick your own announcer.
Wow.
It's insane.
Well, I know, I don't know if they came out with it yet, but I know that they were, trying to get it where you can have virtual reality right at the stadium. If like basketball, I think they were going to start with.
Yeah. I actually saw some of that too. And that's the thing too, is all the coding that's involved.
Like right now it's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I love about the NBA bubble, it's like, bringing in all those Zoom fans, and they're piping out all that audio into the court. Like, from a humanistic standpoint to just technology, it's like, let's go. Why not? I mean, like, there's enough technology in these arenas and sports venues. I mean, to put on everything from the Olympics to American Idol to a basketball game to you name it. I mean, so the way I look at it, it's like, let's just use it smart, give people choices, which makes competition, which makes sponsors like, like I got to have this, I got to have that. And then you market it that way correctly. No cyberbullying.
Yes, no cyberbullying.
Then, like sky's the limit. Like it's exciting. I mean, I think even Twitch, I think it's still early in what they're doing, but I mean, hey, I think I was on there recently and just listening to the culture of different, influencers networking with each other to kind of, take their fans and pass them off to others during certain time windows, just to kind of always keep them engaged and serve the audience and network with them too, to cross-pollinate production and promotion of different things. I mean, that's so healthy, but like that's such a organic way of how we're seeing it get done right now. Like, in 5 years with, everyone else is joining, e-gamers, coming in, it's like, will it stay as healthy? I mean, like no one's keeping up the morals of just how these platforms are actually developing and prospering. And, when we do kind of throw in, sponsor and ad dollars on that, it's not helping anybody if we don't police it or at least have some more awareness. Like, it just sucks, but it will get there. I mean, it's really exciting, but I mean, it's hard to, use your device without knowing, all this data getting tracked on me.
Yeah.
What's really happening with my password into, the actual stuff that you're seeing, which is, fake Photoshop filter.
Yeah.
List goes on.
Yeah. So Donny, what projects do you have going on right now? Like, what do you got coming up on the horizon? I know you're kind of in between some things. Like, what do you got going on? So our viewers can
transition right now. Right now, I'm doing a lot of freelance gigs. So okay. I mean, it's actually kind of fun. I mean, I'm doing stuff I've been, like I said, been on LinkedIn a bunch more now. But I was helping someone the other day, basically grow their children's book. You just never know what you're going to do in the freelance world. There's this one woman, she's living her dream she already produced 3 children's books. She's a Amazon listed author, but she's self-published. This is sort of like her side hustle that now she's taking it full time. So I mean, like any passionate person, it's like, it doesn't matter what we're working on as long as like, your head's in it, you're happy about it. Yeah. You're excited to want to create and innovate. And from there, it's like, hey, who wouldn't? I don't care if it's a children's book. I'd want to work with that too. But I got that working on right now. There are a few edits that I've been doing right now for some folks on Instagram as well. But yeah, I mean, I'm kind of day to day. I mean, hey, you ping me, let's work.
Yeah. Because I know a couple of guys with a podcast can use some help. So
funny enough, and we'll get to this later, but there's audio technology that I want to, bring to the podcast world that'll help revolutionize just the quality of the sound, but also optimize it for the specific devices, streaming platforms. Been working with an audio engineer on this. We're actually just talking about it. He does a lot of the automation on his end, but to kind of bring stuff up to spec. Clean up audio. I mean, like, I think a lot of people are skipping the quality aspect to just not hating on podcasts, but just any production. There's always ways to do it on the cheap. And now that we have cell phones, it doesn't really help that people can just shoot something and post it without actually touching it up. Because there's people who do this for a living, editors, sound designers, so but yeah, I mean, sky's the limit with that, I mean, I think even graphics too. I mean, the same thing that I think what we're going to see in broadcasting is going to transcend into streaming media. And you have a lot of really great individuals right now, in all facets of storytelling, graphic animation, sound design, so on and so forth, even to social media managers who are the guys behind the scenes of, optimizing and automating all the social media to make sure that's on strategy and that's kicking out. emails. I mean, you name it. But yeah, I mean, my goal is just to kind of work with some great brands. Kind of have, a cool couple of feelers out there with some exciting things to come. But yeah, I mean, anyone that wants to, collaborate. I mean, I've done a lot of collaborations with different music artists and things too. So it's sort of, I used to, as the story goes, I'd be at concerts like this, like filming the actual artist, and I'd be like, oh, this is cool. And then I went to college, learned what, video production and broadcasting could do. And I'm like, wait, I can swap cameras and be on that side of the stage?
I get paid for it. Yeah, absolutely.
For it. And next thing you know, it's like I've had all these opportunities where I have artists, texting me. I'm like, oh my God, what? Like, little thing, like, I mean, I had one artist roll up to me. We're doing something at Topgolf. He's in his rental car.
Yeah.
And he comes up. They text me they're coming. He comes up and he's like, "Hey man, you see any pretty girls out here?" Like, he's making a joke. I mean, like, this isn't even a dream. Like, what?
Yeah.
So I mean, those things too. It's fascinating. So I mean, I think my heart is in music and entertainment. Of course, I have a affinity for sports, and right now it's all about variety. I think I mean, you do enough, especially with video content pieces. A lot of them, especially if they're single sport, gets a little repetitious. So a lot of what I've tried to do is like golf adjacent. So I mean, I like to say that the core golf audience is here. I sort of float around that and collaborate with different brands too. So when I was with Golf Channel, we were doing things with Avis Rental Car, with Rolex, with other brands who, were had a messaging interest. And then, I was basically tasked with, helping to handle that creative of that, bringing that synergy actually, like, instead of on paper, it's on video.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mentioned to you before, when we were talking before the show, that I definitely want to spruce up some of the things over here.
I'm with him on that one.
We want, we want like transitions. We want like, also, nice music and. So we're definitely going to be.
I'll get a little step and repeat like you guys for my background too. So just come in the mail. My locker, have fun fitting it in.
Hey, if you could figure out a way to put one in the back of our guest, that'd be awesome. But yeah, for sure. I mean, we're still, what are we, episode 18 now? So, we're still pretty young in this, and we just want to keep, advancing and getting a little bit more flashier, so we can give people a reason to come and watch us instead of watch people drunk driving home.
Exactly.
But yeah, and like you've been mentioning, there's a lot of people behind the scenes, and I have come to realize this over the last year, trying to build Playing the Field. I thought it was like, oh, I just have to create an app and we're good. No. I mean, I knew it wasn't going to be like that easy, but
it's funny. It's like
you just still underestimate every little thing that needs to get put into it. And I mean, I love it. I'm learning so many new things. Yeah. Absolutely. I'm just learning so many new things, and it's just amazing, being on this journey right now. And it's a lot of fun, especially since we launched this podcast. Like, it's gotten even more fun because now we can talk sports, talk shop, and talk to interesting people, hear their stories, hear about what they do, and that's really what Playing the Field is about. It's about the community. It's about bringing people together. And we're definitely loving the journey right now.
Yeah, I mean, like, I have so much support, transitioning from a full-time staff role into freelance right now. Like, anyone who runs a small business, hats off to you, because it's tough. It's tough. It's really tough because you juggle pretty much every facet of business there is, and your home life. And then again, it's like, you got to keep in mind that in a corporation, there's a role for each of these facets. With small business, it's like, it's me, baby. And, like, it's one of those things where it's a humbling experience, but same thing with starting a podcast, like there's podcasts that, have people that all they do is book guests. All they do is social media. All they do is X, Y, and Z. And it's tough, but you guys are really hanging in there, and it's looking pretty awesome, guys. I mean, I'm excited to help your journey as well, and I know we'll collaborate more down the road. It'll be really fun.
Well, we appreciate it, man.
Yeah,
thanks for coming on tonight, man. Thanks a lot.
Likewise. Thanks, guys, for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for coming on, and we're certainly gonna keep talking and work on sprucing up what we got going.
Awesome.
Already got going on over here.
Cool.
All right.
Can't wait.
Awesome. Thank you, Donnie.
Thanks for coming on. Have a good night.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Mike, we need to hire him.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
everybody that's here, in the description, you got Donnie's sizzle reel. I forgot to mention it when he was on, but he's done some amazing work. He's Golf Channel, as we mentioned. He's done short movies, and shows for NBC. The Champion Within he's worked on, and it's just take a look at his Vimeo link on our description. And, definitely hit him up on LinkedIn if you need any video work done, any kind of production work done, digital media work. Please just hit up Donnie as a favor to us. And, thank Donnie for coming on. Absolutely. And we'll certainly be talking some more.
Yeah, anybody, just the passion that he has for what he does is incredible, man. I mean,
absolutely. And nice guy.
And you can just see it, man. I mean, and just – It's interesting, like we was talking about, like you don't realize that it's like a couple thousand people that put together a Super Bowl or something like that. It's crazy, man. It's just nuts.
It is. It really is. So what should we do?
So now we're gonna, So now we're gonna. By the way, it's 21-10. Cleveland is up over the Bengals. I think going into the half.
You got.
The Browns are starting to sort of take over this game here. So
the Bengals are trying a 2-minute drill. They got 12 seconds left in the half right now.
Young Joe Burrow, man, growing pains.
This is game 2, and you know what? He's been impressive.
Yeah,
thus far. I mean, game should have been tied in week 1 on Sunday, but had that freak cramp or hamstring pull, whatever it was, and he definitely put them in the right position.
Yeah,
and it's 21-10. I mean, they're playing in Cleveland, and Cleveland's always playing hard over there. And Cleveland. Yeah, so it's a tough task for him, for him to go in there and win it. But still, they're hanging in there. I mean, it's 11. If they can get a field goal here. It's anyone's game at that point. But let's preview some of the other games that we have coming up this week.
Let's segue to our parlay, our 5-team parlay for the week, brought to you by Play the Field Now dating app.
Play the Field dating.
Play the Field dating. Go find your MVP at playthefield.com. All right, first game on tap.
So let's go with. We're going to leave the home teams for last, right?
Correct.
Okay. So let's go with the Vikings and the Colts. Because this is an interesting game. The Vikings are visited Lucas Oil Stadium.
Sunday at 1. The Vikings are 3-point dogs. Mike, take it away.
Yep. Vikings are 3-point dogs. So the Vikings, that Green Bay Vikings game last week, I saw it. It was 8-5 in like the end of the first quarter into the second quarter, and the score ends up, I think it was 43-34. I was like, what in the world is going on here? Obviously they were outmatched by the Green Bay Packers. The Indianapolis Colts, on the other hand, they were playing in Jacksonville. They were 8-point favorites to win that game. It looked like they were doing pretty good for a minute there.
Yeah.
And then Minshew mania just took over, and the guy's throwing touchdown pass after touchdown pass. Everything was clicking for them. Did they get a pick 6 in that game, or did they get they got some kind of big defensive?
I'm not sure.
But
I can tell you off the top of my head.
But the Jaguars, like, crazy upset. Like,
yeah,
definitely did not see that coming. I mean, it seemed like they're trying to trade off everybody on the defense, and their defense just shined. So for the Colts, with what's supposed to be the best offensive line in football, I mean, Marlon Mack did a lot, Nyheim Hines did a lot, and the rookie Jonathan Taylor did a lot. Marlon Mack is now gone for the year.
Torn Achilles.
Torn Achilles. But the 3 points, I think Vegas is just giving them the favor because they're home. But I think the Vikings win this game.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Indianapolis is a little bit beat up.
Yeah,
and I think after that beating,
it's too much to overcome.
Yeah, and I think after that loss last week to Green Bay, Minnesota's going to have to come back and show me something. But I think giving them the points, I'll take Minnesota +3 on the road at Indianapolis.
Yeah, I like the extra points. Absolutely.
Yeah. Second game.
What do you want?
I say the Rams. The Rams and Eagles.
So.
The Rams are +1.
The Rams are getting 1. They're playing in Philadelphia, and don't get me wrong, this travel situation is going to get tricky because these teams only are allowed to travel up to 24 hours before game time. They cannot stay over for an extra day, and we've already seen countless injuries for week 1. A lot of big names, and just names all across the league just getting injured. A lot of people just not practicing this week.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a common thread for most of the season, most likely. And even, I mean, we're going to touch on the Niners when we talk about the Jets, but the Niners are coming to New York for the Jets, and they have to go back west and come back to New York for the Giants. And that's crazy, but this is all in efforts to keep, the COVID contractions to a minimum, and to just try and make sure nobody is getting COVID, nobody's mingling when they shouldn't be. And so we can get through a whole season, but those injuries are going to definitely take a toll. So the Rams are traveling to Philadelphia. Rams beat the Cowboys in beautiful SoFi Stadium, which we have to go to.
Yes, which we will go to for Super Bowl 56.
Yes.
Yep. So for the viewers out there, that's the goal of the show. Super Bowl 56. We take the Fan Experience podcast to the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah,
in a couple of years. So you guys will join us. But anyway, back to the Rams and Eagles. Go ahead, Mike.
And then so the Rams are visiting Philadelphia, a stadium we don't want to go to. No.
Actually, Lincoln Field is nice over there. I've been to Philly. It's not bad.
Yeah, I know, but they throw batteries at Santa Claus.
Yeah.
So anyway, the Eagles lost to the Washington Redskins this past week.
Yeah, that wasn't good.
And they didn't look like they had a lot of firepower going. I mean, they were up 17-0, but then they just totally deflated. And, I think it's going to be a very tight game. The travel does hurt, but I think the Rams have too much on offense and on defense to lose this game.
Yeah. Listen, Carson Wentz got beat up last week. I mean, what did he get hit 8 times or what? I mean, how many times did he get sacked last week?
I think he got sacked 8 times.
He got sacked 8 times. I mean, Washington eventually just overpowered him. I think it's going to be a long season for him. He might not finish the season. I mean, he has a tendency of getting hurt. And if he's getting sacked 8 times, and then you got Aaron Donald coming in after a win like they had, I'm going to ride the Rams' momentum here. They had a good first win. They're +1, so Vegas is basically telling them it's a coin flip either way. So I'm going to take the Rams +1, win a close game on the road in Philadelphia. Aaron Donald maybe has 2 sacks or something like that, and the Rams come away with a victory. So I'm taking the Rams +1.
Yep. All right, so we got Vikings. So we got 2 dogs right now. So
game 3.
Let's pick a favorite here: Arizona and Washington. Okay. Arizona, 7-point spread.
Yeah, that's at home. And you look, Arizona's gonna, they're surprisingly, you look at all of a sudden Arizona, they're a pretty good team, man, with DeAndre Hopkins over there, Larry Fitz.
14 for 151 last week.
Yeah. I mean, my God.
I mean, he's right back to where he was with Houston. I mean, the guy is just a workhorse, and he just commands the ball.
Yeah.
No matter what.
And Kyler Murray's he's incredible, man. I mean, that kid can make throws from everywhere. He's running all over the field. I don't know that Washington has the offense to keep up with them. I really don't, especially going on the road. I don't know that they'll be able to keep up with them defensively as well. I don't see how they stop them. So give me the Cardinals -7 at home.
Agreed. I'm right there with you. Cardinals covering that. Probably run away with it, I think.
Yeah.
We should touch on the Ravens Texans because that's a marquee game right there.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Ravens Texans. Ravens -7.
Yep.
I have no faith in Bill O'Brien. I have no faith in Houston. They don't win a big game. I don't see them after what happened with Kansas City. There's no way they win this game.
Yeah, I don't think they win this game either. My holdup is the 7, but I went with the Texans last week and I was so wrong.
Yeah.
So I think the Ravens can cover the 7, even if it is in Texas.
Yeah, I'm with you. Ravens cover the 7 and they win going away. So that's like kind of a bonus pick for you guys right there. All right, the two locals. You want to start with the Jets and the Niners, or you want to go with Giants and the Bears?
Let's just get the Jets over with.
All right, let's get the Jets over. Look, folks, you all know we're big Jet fans. You heard my rant last week. I'm going to say it right now. I wouldn't, after the way the Jets played, I wouldn't be surprised if this thing is 50-0 at the half. We don't have a running back. We have no wide receivers. Adam Gase doesn't know what he's doing. Sam Darnold is going to be running for his life because I just think he plays nervous back there. I don't see any way that the Jets are going to win this game. I don't care who's hurt. They could put me at corner for the 49ers this week, and they'll still win. So I'm taking the Niners. I'm taking the points. This is a no-brainer for me. And I tell you right now, if it gets ugly Sunday, 1 o'clock at MetLife, I don't care what Christopher Johnson said this week, Adam Gase might not make the season. He might not make the bye week. That's how bad it might be.
Bye week is not until like week 10 or 11. We can't even let him get that far.
I can tell you right now, if it gets ugly on Sunday and the Jets all of a sudden snowball it, I can't see any way that Joe Douglas and Christopher Johnson keep him on as the head coach. I just don't see it. But, back to the game, I just don't – again, I don't see how they win this game. They have no offensive weapons. They couldn't stop anybody last week. Garoppolo's going to throw for 300 yards probably. Give me the Niners and the points.
I think you got some friends watching.
Yeah, that's what it is, man. Give me the Niners plus the points and another Sunday of misery and agony from myself and my beloved Jets fans.
Give the Jets 26.5, and I'm still taking them.
Oh, you heard it here, folks. You heard it right here.
Yeah, I'm taking bets right now. All right, what do we? The Giants, Bears. The Giants are going to Chicago.
Yeah.
Soldier Field. The Bears are favored by 5.5. Giants just lost to the Steelers. They look competitive for a quarter and a half there. Yeah. The Bears, Mitchell Trubisky with a comeback win against the Lions in Detroit. Nobody expected it. My personal opinion is I think Giants keep it close. The Bears may end up winning this game, but I don't see them covering the 5.5.
I'm with you on that. See, Mitchell Trubisky is so up and he's so erratic. He's so up and down. Like you don't know from week to week what you're going to get, right? And so I don't know. I mean, I think Vegas is daring you to take the Bears at 5.5 because of the way the Giants looked last week. But the Giants, look, if they can straighten some things out with Saquon Barkley in the running game, feed him the ball a little more, I think, or find a way to get him going, I think they have a shot of winning this game because I think Trubisky's going to give him a couple of turnovers, Yeah. I think he's going to give him a couple of turnovers.
Yeah.
But I don't know that
it's going to be a slop.
Yeah. I think it's going to be a sloppy game. Look, Daniel Jones, same thing. I mean,
whatever the under is, I'm taking the under.
Yeah. But I think I like the Bears at home, but I'll take the Giants plus 5.5.
Yes. Agreed.
Giants plus 5.5.
All right. So what do we got?
There you have it, folks. You got the Giants plus 5.5 We have the 49ers.
Minus 26.5.
Minus 26.5. No, it's minus 6.5.
So you got 20 points to play with if you need it.
Yeah, we got the Cardinals at home.
Cardinals at home over the Redskins, Vikings, home away dogs taking it, and the Rams in the pick'em. We've taken the Rams over the Eagles.
Right, and those are the 5 for 5 picks for the week. Brought to you by Play the Field. Not playing the field now. Go to playingthefielddating.com and find your MVP.
Absolutely. All right, let's
little news and notes.
Let's check in on around the league. So we got 1-1. Islanders Lightning still 1-1. And let's take some news and notes here. The Heat beat the Celtics 106-101.
That series
2-0. So they're in command of this series right now, and you got the Lakers and Nuggets beginning their series tomorrow.
I like I'm smelling a Miami, LA NBA Finals, and it's a shame that we have all this COVID, man. Because if that was the finals, could you imagine the scene in LA, the scene in Miami? I mean, that'd be incredible.
Yeah, I mean, well, at least hey, maybe Miami's doing so good because they're in Florida.
They're in Florida. How about that? They're in Orlando. Good point.
They got home field of all the teams.
Yeah.
I saw a meme once. It was J.R. Smith with his squinty eyes saying, "We've been playing on Orlando for 2 months, and yet I haven't seen the Magic once."
Good old J.R. Smith. What can you say?
Yeah, I mean, those great memes. But let's touch on some MLB news.
Yeah, we got some MLB news. The Dodgers clinched. They got their 8th straight playoff berth. I mean,
Dodgers clinched. You said the White Sox clinched? The
White Sox clinched as well. They moved the Padres-Mariners series out because of all the air out there. That's such a tragic situation with all the fires and stuff going on out there.
Yeah, they moved another game yesterday as well.
And it's starting to affect all the air quality out there, man. I want to see how that's going to affect, especially the next couple of weeks. Any NFL games get postponed because of that. I mean, it hasn't happened right now, but
Seattle's playing. Patriots and Seattle play Sunday night.
Yeah. So we'll see how that plays out.
San Fran obviously is coming to town, so they're not going to be there. But yeah, and Oakland obviously is out of there because now they're in Vegas.
Right.
First game in the new stadium.
Should be fun. That should be fun. I can't wait. Too bad no fans.
I think the Saints win that game only because it's still a dome, and they can. I don't see the Raiders beating the Saints. But yeah, MLB. Luke Voigt, MLB home run leader. A little bright spot for the Yankees, but the
beloved who finally
a little bit.
Yeah, they finally straightened the ship, man. I mean, tonight they hit like 5 home runs in an inning. Luke Voigt leading the way. Stanton's back. Judge is coming back from injury. Torres is back. So the Yankees starting to right the ship and starting to make that late push into the playoffs.
Games left?
I think, what is it, like 10 games left maybe? Something like
that? I think the season ends in 10 days, I think.
Yeah. Little college football, the Big Ten is resuming their season. I think it – yeah, I mean, look, that's a big thing for college football. Now the Pac-12 is starting to look at their testing capabilities to see if
testing every single day.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, turning a corner here. I don't know.
I think
when hey, I'm going to cancel. Like, just state your word.
Look, I think that a lot of these school presidents are feeling a lot of pressure, political pressure. You got the president calling them and all that. I think there's a lot of that.
They're giving kids free rides to school to have them play, and then they're not going to play. So that's probably. I mean, it's all like politics involved.
It is, but I think them watching the examples from like the NBA, NHL bubbles, the NFL, Major League Baseball, I think there's sort of a blueprint now, right? Like there's sort of a roadmap to how to do this thing. Rapid testing. If somebody gets sick, isolate them, but you can still keep things going. The only question for me is, I mean, these are kids on campuses, man. It's not like you can bubble them up like they do in the NBA or the NHL, or they're going to do with MLB baseball. They got to go back to class. They're going to be in classes. They're going to be around other kids. So they'll be able to this thing. It'll be able to be sort of passed around a little more. So I want to see how they're going to be able to approach that protocol. But look, man, I think they had no choice. Parents were pushing for them to play. I think kids wanted to play, but I think the political pressure eventually got to everybody, and they said, you know what, let's get this thing going. So see how it plays out.
Yeah, I mean, it's all we can do right now. I mean, but it's with anything. I mean, kids are back at school, elementary school, middle school, not just college. So we just eventually we're going to have to try and, restart normal life as best as we can. Let's just hope that everything's okay at the end of it.
Yeah, I think I think they'll figure it out. But let's just keep everybody safe and look, it's going to be nice to have football on Saturdays, man. Be able to turn on, get a college football game on Saturdays, being able to watch that. I know there've been a couple of games on, but it's nothing like having the SEC or the ACC or the, or Texas Tech out there playing. So it's going to be good. It's good.
Yeah, exactly. We don't want to end the show on a somber note. It's more sports are coming back. That's the moral of this story. And it's 21-13, start of the third quarter over here. Let's see what Joe Burrow can do. We will let you guys enjoy the second half of Thursday Night Football, the Battle of Ohio. We have a couple of great guests in store for you for next week.
That's right.
We'll be here again, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, 9 p.m. Eastern, Tuesday and Thursday of next week for episodes 19 and 20. Wow, we're going to get to
20. We got to do when we get to 25, we got to do like a 25 show sort of celebration or something like that.
Please, everybody, please shoot them by us.
Let us know
for episode 25 for all of you. So until next week, enjoy the end of the Thursday Night Football game and enjoy week 2 and all the other playoff action going around in the world of sports.
And if you didn't catch us tonight live, make sure you go to Apple Podcasts or Spotify and check out the episodes on there as well.
Absolutely. And you can also check it out, the audio version, at fanexperiencepod.com. It has every single episode right on there. So until next week, everybody, enjoy your weekend, enjoy some football, enjoy sports in general. Have a wonderful night.